Hello, nice to meet you, and really pleased to have this opportunity to present our project to you. So I'll share my screen, and then we can start. So you should see my screen now.
Yes.
I'm talking about the Bürokratt, which is one of the more than 140 AI use cases that we have in the public sector in Estonia. And when talk about the problem that we are actually solving with this solution is that 99.9% of the public services in Estonia are digitalized. So there are thousands of e-services, and people do not know, might not know how to find them. They might know about 10, 50, perhaps 100 more popular e-services, but what about those thousands that they don't know about? And also, people might not know which public agency they need to contact with if they should have some sort of questions or problems. So we use the AI in order to direct them to the correct places and also provide the services through the chatbot. So what the Bürokratt is, it's a virtual assistant, and it's like an interoperable network of chatbots. So uh, it's not like one central chatbot, but it's every agency or institution or local municipality will have their own chatbot, and those different chatbots are connected to the network, and it's being, and then the queries are being classified by the classification module classifier. So it means that if I ask from, let's say, Police and Border Guard's website a question about kindergartens, then my intent is being discovered, and I will be directed to the correct chatbot. So the idea is that different data remains within the data owner's responsibility. So every institution can still be the let's say master of their data. Also, we have the capability for the end user authentication, which means that we can go more personal with our services. So the e-services that we are providing through the chatbot are firstly, there's a service module where every institution or authority can basically drag and drop different elements, build up their own build up their own service flows, and they can also include different API queries there. So it means that different agencies can create new e-services rather easily. Also, they can use the authentication part there, which means that, for example, if I'd like to check or if I'd like to build a service where the end user can check the status of their passport, let's say when does it expire, then they can rather easily build up the service flow there. Also, personalized recommendations is one way, like one of the ways that we are moving towards to. What it means is that, for example, if you are getting unemployed, then we already know that, or the data is there about what's the person's education, how long have they been working, where do they live, what has been the salary range, and so on. And with that data and AI, we can give them personalized recommendations, for example, about different retraining programs, different programs about setting up the new business, for example, about different job opportunities out there in the work market, and so on. This is also connected to the privacy-enhancing technologies. For example, the consent service. How can we do those queries about the individual if we don't have the consent? So the idea is that when I use the chatbot and I ask what are my opportunities, for example, in the work market, then we can ask the people their consent that we can do different data queries. We can get the data and then give the person according to this data then the different recommendations. Also, the data tracker after the queries have been done, then the end user can go and check if or what data has been or what queries have been done. Also, the whole project is an open development, so basically everybody can go and see what we have been doing there, and it's also reusable. So if anybody would like to use our solution, then they are welcome to do that. In terms of the chatbot, we are using at the moment two different lines again. The first one is the RASA framework, which actually needs a lot of training. However, it gives people accurate answers, and it's easier to use in terms of data protection because we can run it on premise. Also gives the agency a possibility to do the personalized queries about the end users. In terms of LLM, at the moment, we are using mainly the open data, but of course, the hallucinations occur. So it's actually finding the balance between those two. Where do we use the, let's say, older technology and where do we use LLMs? The main challenges actually are that the data quality can be quite inconsistent and different in different agencies, different local municipalities, and so on. So the data quality is actually the one of the biggest challenges. Also managing the expectations. If we talk about the chatbot in whatever government's website, and people tend to think that they can get answers to all the questions that there are. We have to, at the moment, direct them to those topics that the bot already can answer with a good quality. Data availability as well. The data, it might be hard to get to the data which helps us to train the chatbot. And actually, the biggest challenge still is the Estonian language, as it's a small language. When we talk about LLMs, for example, they might work really well in English already, but there is a long way to go in terms of smaller languages. And we kind of cut the corners on the quality of the answers. So what we have discovered is that it's actually better if the bot cannot answer the question versus if it gives the hallucinating answer or not so accurate answer. So the lessons learned, the bot actually is used and will be used if it works. We see from different websites that if the quality of the answer is good, then actually the agencies win quite a lot from quite a lot of working hours because the bot can solve the people's problems already. Different agencies need more support than expected. It's actually, I guess, quite international problems in terms of quite international problem in terms of public sector that the data literacy might not be quite there where we wanted it to be, and and finding specialists for the public sector is quite hard. I already mentioned the accuracy versus hallucinations. Also, in terms of LLMs, the bot or the LLMs might not even give people the wrong answers, but the answer might be simplified, or the answer might overlook quite important aspects. So not only they are hallucinating, but they are oversimplifying it as well in some cases. But the agencies do not want to spend time on training the bot. So again, the RASA model gives them opportunity to give quite high quality answers, but it takes time to train the bot. The expectation from our clients, meaning the agencies and local municipalities, is basically that they want to feed in all the data that they have, and the LLM should do the magic and answer the questions. However, it's not that easy. And managing the end users' expectations as well. Estonia has been for quite some time digitalized now, starting from early 2000s. So the expectation for the public sector's digital service quality is really high, and we really have to keep up with the expectations. However, again, it's quite time-consuming to train the bots and be on that high quality. So yeah, these are the main aspects and main challenges of the chatbot development in public sector. And happy to answer some questions if there are any.
Thank you. Actually, there are. There's just one question in the chat, and I invite also the audience to post more questions in the chat. So the first one I see here is from William. Do you see this app being a one-stop replacement or a way to direct end users to the main information source?
No, the idea is that I can consume most of the services in the chatbot already, so that I won't be directed to the whatever website or whatever and wherever place to consume the service. The idea is that if I ask that I want a new ID card in the chatbot, then I can already authenticate myself there. I can say that, okay, all my data is correct. I can pay any tax if needed, so on, and I will get my ID card. So this should be one channel for the end user or the citizen or resident.
Thank you. Is there another question? Otherwise, I have a question, because you mentioned hallucinations as one problem, but also data literacy. So how do you tackle these problems? And do you have like signals saying you're interacting here with the chatbot? How do you make sure that the end user is trusting the result and do this capacity building also at the same time?
Yeah, we do quite a lot of testing actually before we go live with the LLM solutions. So there are different let's say platforms where the test phases are public and where people can go and test and find the problems. Also, if the LLM answers the questions, then we also add a little disclaimer that take it with a little grain of salt, let's say, so that people can understand that the answer can be quite accurate, but not 100% accuracy.
Okay, now there are more. Thank you. There are more questions now coming in the chat. One is the single model that will be deployed in every department, or the multiple models are fine-tuned in respective to each department with their specific data? Or how is this managed?
I'll read the question once more. Yeah, the idea is that if one agency will use the chatbot, then they will train their own or fine-tune their own chatbot. However, we are creating sort of those pre-trained packages as well for example, the local municipalities, where the questions and answers tend to be quite similar, so they can reuse them and let's say tune them a bit according to their own needs. But the idea is that the training and fine-tuning remains within the agency's own responsibility. So they are like the owner of this particular chatbot.
I see. I think this is very similar, this question, how do agencies need to train the chatbot, which they don't like doing?
Yeah, just what about why they don't like doing it is that they are it's like one of those extra projects for them, or it might be, and it can be quite time consuming, and finding a qualified specialist for that might be quite difficult. However, we are with the help of State Information System Authority, we are really trying to help them to train the bots and get to the high quality answers. But it's quite tricky, and lots of support is needed there. But we are doing it as much as we can.